Hey guys, what's going on? It's Mark with Spiguyver Backpacking. Thank you for joining me today. I'm out here in the park behind my house. Found a nice little secluded spot out here where I could set up the Terrapin Outfitters Hatchling and just kind of chill for a little bit and get this video out to you. So I had the intent of doing a different video, but with the wind, it just wasn't working out. I spent a couple of hours putting together a video, doing really what I wanted to do, but the wind was just blowing it around so much and getting on the camera that it just wasn't going to work out. So today I decided switch it up, do something a little bit different, and bring you a video that I've been asked to do for a little while now. So this will be my 2018 lightweight cook set, just kind of showing you guys what I've got. Got some stuff sitting over here on a rock, and I'm going to get this thing fired up here in a minute and get some coffee going. But I want to talk to you guys about this kit, what's in it, how much stuff weighs, and yeah, show it to you. So let's do that. Okay, so as most of you guys know, I really enjoy a lightweight cook set. I do a lot of solo backpacking and try and go as lightweight as possible. So this is going to be my cook set for about 75%, if not more, of my trips in 2018. Now the reason it won't be used on all the trips is some of the trips I like to do dry baking, and so I'd take different stoves, and then there may be some trips this year where I'm required to use a canister stove, something that has an actual shutoff valve on it, and so my normal alcohol stoves won't work. Over here, you'll see I have my pot cozy and a thing of water, which I'm going to carry with me anytime I'm out in the woods, and then my fuel bottle. Inside of the cozy is also my spoon. So this whole setup, so the fuel bottle, the cozy, the spoon, this little kit here, the whole thing weighs right exactly at 5 ounces. Yes, I could go lighter. I have setups that are much lighter, but this is the best combination of durability and lightweight that I've found, and it works really, really well. So to start, this is the Toaks Titanium 550 milliliter, but this is the light version. Has the lid on it. Now the difference between this version and the regular version, so the light version versus the regular version, is that the light version has a thinner gauge titanium and it does not have the stamped measuring marks on it. So inside of here I have a mini Bic Lighter. I have my Spiguyver Stove. And I have a very lightweight titanium windscreen that I built. The whole thing goes together, and if you were to take away the cozy and the spoon and just do what's in here along with the rubber band that holds it on, it's like 3 ounces. So like I believe it was like 144 grams, something like that. I'd have to check. Maybe that was for everything. I've got it all written down. I'll check and let you know. So this is the kit that I will be carrying with me most of the time. Because it's titanium, it cools off really well. I was using one of the Snow Peaks hot lips for this for a while, but I found that it was actually, with this gauge titanium, the rim on top is not wide enough to really hold that all that well. And so as I was drinking from it, it would drip. And so what I found is that it actually cools off quick enough with this lightweight titanium that I can just drink right out of it and not really have any problem. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and set this thing up, get some coffee going, and we'll come back and talk a little bit more about it. So there are a couple of changes from this kit from what I was doing last year. So last year, towards the mid part of the year, later part of the year, I got this pot, and I was using a Spiguyver stove. What I've done is I've actually extended the inner sleeve of the Spiguyver stove to a little over a 1/2 inch, and it seems to work a little bit better, a little bit quicker with this pot. Also on the windscreen, I had 2 little magnetic tabs that I had on there, but they added a little bit of weight that was pretty much unnecessary. Because this pot does not have any graduated markings for measuring, what I have done is taking my spoon. And this is a Gossamer Gear bamboo spoon. I love it. I love the mouth feel and just the weight of it, the length of it. It works really well for me. But what I've done is, you can see on this edge here, I've put graduated markings on there. And so it's 1 cup and 2 cups. I stick it in straight up and down inside of my pot, fill up the water until I hit one of those marks, and that tells me how much water I have in there. And I can estimate for a quarter, half, 3/4, anything that I need to. So I've got this thing going back here right now. It's very windy out here today, but you can see it'll all stay together because of the way that that titanium windscreen wraps around. It just kind of keeps all the flame in there, keeps it nice and warm, and keeps it a little bit more efficient than if it was just wide open. Now, this is my pot cozy. Anybody who's watched very many of my videos knows that most of my cooking is done boil and bag style. So I'll have dehydrated or freeze-dried foods inside of a bag. I'll boil water, pour it in, stuff it inside of my pot cozy, seal it up, and set it aside while the meal reconstitutes and gets to the point where I can eat it. Also, in the winter, that keeps food hot a whole lot longer than just sitting it out or having it just in a pot, unless you have a pot cozy, which then acts the same as this. So you could do, if you were interested in cooking in your pot, you could do a pot cozy with this, and that's going to be something where you can really hold on to it and not have any worries. Now, because this is titanium, the way that this thing cools so quickly, I can grab right a hold of those 2 handles and just pick it up and use it, no problem. I haven't really had any problem with it getting cold, or with it being hot. It cools off and it's cool to the touch enough for me to use it. And if I have any problems, I usually use a buff, and so I can use a buff if needed. The little triangle up on top on the lid has a little slot where it slides over and it locks it in place, so it's like that. And so you could use a spoon or something to lift it up, but really I find that it doesn't get that hot and you can just grab it with your hands. That's the great thing about titanium, is titanium is not a great conductor. And so while aluminum actually works a little bit better, or steel even, for cooking, the properties of this, with it being light, resilient, and cooling off quickly, to me, make it a pretty good cook set. So I'm going to finish making up this thing of coffee, and then we'll come back and talk a little bit more about the weights. So I've got the weights here for the whole setup, but I wanted to take a minute and just kind of show you the updated Spiguyver stove. So I was going 3/8 of an inch from the outer can to the top of the inner can, and on this one it's just about right at a 1/2 inch, and I found that it actually works a little bit better with this pot. Now, with other pots, you may have to make adjustments to make it work. So this stove, this entire stove here, which I've used all 4 seasons, and I've been using for quite a while now, is 5.8 grams, so a very lightweight stove. The windscreen, as I showed you, is 5.2 grams, so very lightweight. The pot, which I've got my mix of Medaglia d'Oro and some Cafe International mocha type stuff in here, so it's a very good treat for today. Now, it is sugar free, so trying to cut back on the calories a little bit. The pot itself is 53 grams and the lid is 17 grams for a total of 70 grams for the set. The rubber band that goes around it and holds it all together is 1.2 grams, and the lighter, the mini Bic lighter, being nearly full, is 11, just a tad over 11 grams. It's 11.1 grams. So I'd said 144 grams for the stove kit, the stove pot. I was actually wrong. It's actually 144 for the entire thing with the pot cozy and the fuel bottle and the spoon. It's 93 grams for this setup. The cozy itself is 37.4 grams and the spoon is 12.9 grams. So that gives you the 5 ounces that the whole thing comes in at. And it's a great setup. I pulled this straight off of the stove, just like this. I just grabbed it, pulled it off, no problems at all. I've got hot, steaming coffee in here. I mean, it's hard to keep my hand on here because it's pretty hot. And yet, because it's not filled up to the top, I can easily take a drink out of it and not burn my lips. Actually, when you touch anything really from here, the fluid is about here, so the coffee comes up to about here. Anywhere from here on up, it's actually cool to the touch. And so it's actually pleasant putting your lips up to it. You don't get burned, and it works out really well. So guys, this is the cook set that will accompany me on most of my backpacking trips in 2018. I am planning on heading out next weekend. It'll just be a short overnighter with probably my oldest son. Get him out, get him on the trail with me, and we'll probably do some decent miles. It'll be a relatively easy terrain, but I'm expecting some pretty good views, so I'm hoping that that's the case. Anyway, guys, I'm going to sit here, enjoy this, relax out here in the wilderness a little bit, and I appreciate you guys joining me. I'll see you down the trail. Thanks.